What's up, tribe? Thank you for being here and welcome to my channel. Today I'm sharing another post from Matias de Stefano's blog. This post is titled The Emotional Shield, and I feel that you would benefit greatly from reading or listening to a post titled I Am the Pulse, which talks about love and the heart, and it just helps us understand emotions and love and heart and how we feel. And it just helps us perceive our emotions and understand our emotions on a whole different level. So I've added that video to Matias's playlist in my channel, but that video was supposed to be a Sagittarius reading. So it's a mix of the Sagittarius reading along with the blog. So that being said, let's get on with it, shall we? The emotional shield, I'd be referring to Matias as me, and to the I am, his higher self, as I am. Me. Everything we do implies an emotion. Everything we intend implies an emotion. What others do affect us emotionally. What we do affects others emotionally. Everything good awakens an emotion. The bad awakens an emotion. And basically, despite the fact that the ideas are clear or irrefutable, the emotion causes the same event to be seen in many ways, generating emotional conflicts. Basically, everything ends up creating an emotional conflict. So the most logical thing is to think that if we eliminate emotions, we could move forward and grow more harmonious. So what is the purpose of so much emotion? I understand the regret, but your gaze is still very human. Here, we must clearly position ourselves on the side from which we want to understand things. There is an answer for every level of understanding. How would you explain international relations between nations economically to a 5-year-old? Me, well, clearly I would try to turn a country into a person, a single individual, and use the comparison of how two people or children live together, play and borrow things that must then be returned. I am. The child then, for a long time, will believe that this person is real, not a concept. For a long time in his life, he will not erase the idea that those nations you speak of were Peter and John. One day, you will see that Pedro and Juan are made up of millions of people, administered in a specific territory. Your idea will change, and those two characters will have disappeared. Emotions are a way of perceiving information according to the cognitive ability you have to understand it. And that cognitive ability is not in your mind, but in your emotion. Me, my way of feeling is my way of assimilating information. I am. Let's go back to the origin of everything. In the beginning, out of the void arose the wave, what you call cosmic breath. The wave created many vibrations, which when collapsing, bend, folding and wrinkling, generating concave and convex aspects, giving rise to polarity. Thus, the vibration moves in high and low frequency waves, which at a higher speed become particles, which end up creating positive and negative energy. Thus, this energy becomes a kind of transmitter of data information arising from the pulses of the wave, like a heartbeat. The greater the number of folds, the greater the energy, the more space bending, the more time bending, creating closed circuits, more energy circulating faster through these circuits, generate more distortion of light, and thus more energy chaos. When collapsing, they create the famous Big Bang, and all the particles and waves are grouped into atoms, then molecules, creating chemical elements, all of them made up of the same vibration and energy, which suddenly became creative energies. Through the energy circuits of polarity, energy continues to diversify its vibration levels, creating more and more ways to exchange data, leading to biological evolution. And as more capacities to assimilate data are expressed in these energetic connections, greater capacity to assimilate data, greater capacity to recognize, to the point where the accumulation is so great that it's normalized. The innate capacity to interpret the information becomes normal, linear, that is, to understand how the circuit works, to read between the lines, something that in Latin is said intelligence. And there are many types of intelligence, as they involve different capacities to read energy pulses. The most important of all is emotional intelligence, since it is the one that directly interprets the source of the information, energy. Me, energy equal to emotion. I am. Emotion then is the way to interpret data intelligently in a circular and spiral way, not linear. You don't add 1 plus 1 plus 1 to say 4, but you can add 1 plus 3, 2 plus 2, or 5 minus 1, and you will see the same result. What I'm going to do is that after millions and millions of years of development, each piece of information has been linked to a specific energy, and therefore each cell in your body is shaped as the result of an interpretation of the environment according to the capacity of your being to manage such information. That is why you cannot escape the emotional vision or even a factual fact, since you are made up of emotional information. Me. So no matter what you write or communicate, it will always generate peace in some and conflict in others. It doesn't matter what I do. I am. Doesn't that make you feel free? Me. It should. But I don't know why. It doesn't. I am. Because you have this soul that everyone understands everything, just as you hope to understand everything. And the general conflict is that the emotions that compose us all, the energy pulses, have created a structural pattern of perception of reality that we call belief. Me. Belief patterns? The hardest thing to transcend. I am, because you believe that beliefs are in the mind, and they're not. Beliefs are in the skin, in the muscles, in the organs, in the cells. The brain is just a processor of belief. It is the CPU and the screen where you see the result of algebra and the bits of information that travel through the internet, as well as the light, electricity that is everywhere. But let's go to the same idea. When you look at your computer screen, at this moment, what do you see? Me, words in my language, a bright white background. I am. And what is the reality? Me. There are no words or white, but a layer of minerals such as tin, indium oxide, palladium crystal, a plate of LED diodes, light emitters that receive signals to show one or another information or bits. Unless you read it in a book, where will it be? Vegetable cellulose pulp with mineral ink. I am. And what does the person who's reading what you write perceive of all this? Me. The emotion that I write arouses in him, right? Not? I am. And is it the LED, the tin, or the cellulose that transmits that emotion? Me, none. It's the individual interpretation of what I see from the outside world. I am. And do you think that the emotion with which you write is the same that reaches the reader? Me, apart, maybe? I am. And why? Me, well, because I think that the way of using words, the words chosen to tell it, the spaces, the intention, and how the dialogue is shown, all this carries a transferable emotional weight. I am. You transfer a series of data that summarizes your perception, but the emotion is non-transferable. The only way an emotion can be transferred is by sharing it in the same instant, and still it won't be faithful. There are people who cry in sad moments of the movies, and others who laugh. Why? Me, because everything I perceive is a function of the energetic permeability of my body and how I have built my ability to receive external data. I am. Emotion at the beginning of creation is the fundamental motor to generate, to create. Without emotion, the will to do something cannot be manifested. It cannot be expressed, nor can it actuate. Emotion is the key to creation in all levels of consciousness possible. However, there is a moment when energy ceases to be creative and becomes creation. The consciousness passes from being the dreamer to being the dream. And this happens when the energy circuit begins to twist in a constant cycle that results in a pattern of movement. This energy pattern only allows entry into its pattern of everything that rotates the same, which is capable of being at its own pace and following the pulse. There it becomes a belief, a repetitive act that uses the same energy and therefore the same information over and over again, taking over, appropriating one perspective as the only one. Thus, everything that comes from outside now will be perceived by this energy pattern. And in the same way as an ovum, it will reject those unwanted sperm and allow only a chosen one to enter through its shield. Me, it's an emotional shield. I am. You all have it. It's natural. It is the skin at an energy level. If your skin is that organ that covers all tissues, protecting them, helping you purify and breathe, protecting yourself from the hostile environment, because what you call the electromagnetic field, the torus around you, radiating the energy that many see as the aura, is that skin that protects you from all external data, depending on what you have experienced throughout life, whether at this time or others, as well as the experience of all your ancestors. This shield will be more rigid or more flexible. Rigidity generates energetic obstacles, knots that we usually know as traumas, where the information became entangled in a closed circuit. trying to protect itself from an external event, such as a snail or a turtle. Others have an energy field similar to a spider's web, that is, sticky. People who do not have a filter, and whatever is in the environment sticks to them. So they are weak to receive criticism or accept without judgment what others impose on them. Others live it, like a sea, like waves, where you can swim, and which, by marking a horizon, allows new things to enter and submerge in it. But others have built walls on this energy, preventing anything from entering. This shield can go from protecting us to harming us, because it makes everything that comes from the outside look like an attack on the integrity of the being. Thus, the emotion responds by defending itself, judging, separating, getting depressed, getting angry, crying. There's nothing more horrible than something external to you breaking everything you believe in yourself. Me, I know, it's very hard. I've been through it. But it is also true that when you allow yourself to break everything, there is no other choice but to rebuild yourself. And that is very nutritious. In my case, when I lost the sense of everything and what I had built as an emotion around me, that which made me who I am was destroyed before the consciousness of universal reality, there came a time when I realized that it is not that what I previously believed no longer had a place in me, but now what I believed and felt in me was much broader. I am like that child who believed in Pedro and Juan, and suddenly one day realized that they were countries. Me, yes, those two characters did not cease to exist. They just expanded on a larger scale, a broader understanding. I am. It is important then to understand that there are two very different ways of perceiving the external world, in beliefs and in resonance. When you believe in something, your pattern is closed, and it will protect itself from the external that questions that belief. When you resonate, you do not have to believe. You simply find there's an aspect that will make you look for more details to expand what you feel in yourself. Me, I saw, for example, that what you said, God does not exist, was very strong for many people, coming to believe that then everything they felt was not true, when what you wanted to convey was that God in whom you believe, it does not exist, but everything you feel does exist, because it is part of you. I am. Years of repetition of the same pattern make it real. A lie repeated many times becomes a truth, or rather, it becomes a belief. And a belief is not the same as resonance. Me, I, for example, do not believe in any God, and yet I see divinity in all things. Knowing that God does not exist did not make me an atheist, but rather opened my mind to all possible forms of divinity. I am. That is amplifying your emotional shield so that it becomes a wide and permeable energy field. Me, but even so, I realize that I still have that shield in other aspects of my life. I still have the need to defend myself when I'm not understood. I still close myself off when there are things that I don't like. I am. And that is something that you will not be able to escape in life, because until the day of your death, you will have that shield in the same way that you will have skin. The emotional shield is not a bad thing, but it is something that you have to know how to use and take care of. Not everything that is outside is your enemy. Not all criticism is destructive. You must maintain your integrity and access in you. And that is what this energy field means. Everything you feel, the emotion of each chakra, makes you who you are and perceive the world as you are. Until you transform the idea of who you are, you will not change the emotional shield. Being yourself on your axis, you recognize that you are everything. Your shield will hold you firm, but at the same time, it will understand that every battle that you're about to fight is the one you have chosen, step by step, that everything that comes to you is to nurture and expand the idea of you, me. So all that energy just needs to be mobilized, made flexible, permeable, to free itself from traumas and shields, and turn it into a soft skin that allows us to breathe and assimilate the nutrients from the environment in harmony. I am. Expand. There is no way to escape the emotion, because you exist because of the emotion. Enjoy it, feel it, recognize it, and become aware that it is the universal tool to learn, to nourish ourselves with new information that makes us expand and not the other way around. Me. Thus, I must begin to release those energetic tensions that are accumulated in each part of my body to be able to see beyond, knowing that it's not to eliminate my way of seeing, but to expand my capacity for contemplation. I am. Recognize this beautiful shield and emotional skin, and thus you can free your body from its ideological prison. That is, do not seek to be free of emotion. Me, but to be emotion and freedom.